Hey, I'm Lily O'Reilly. This is Lily O'Reilly Reviews, and today we've got a little bit of an uncomfortable topic to touch base on. Yeah. So, I know that a lot of you were really keeping an eye on the progress of our yard hippo, the geriatric Pitbull that I rescued back in May. And for those of you that didn't know, I had a acquaintance that touched base with me, said they had a pit bull that needed rehomed because they were leaving the area. So I took a road trip down to the southern US where I picked this dog up, and he was in really rough shape. The history that I knew was that possible fighting dog, probably a bait dog, multiple episodes of starvation. When I got him, he was very, very lean, very hungry, horrible breathing to the point where at one point I thought he had a collapsed lung. No feeling in the front paws, scarring down one side, no teeth from the middle of the muzzle forward, just a hot mess. We knew he had had heartworm for at least 2 years, probably more. The prior owner never got it treated. And I got him up here, took him to the vet, tested him. He had endemic heartworm, just full of it. He had late stage heart failure due to the extensiveness of the heartworm, to the point where fluid was collecting in his lungs and his abdomen. The feet weren't really a problem. We discovered that he had stage 4 testicular cancer and just a host of other problems. We tried him on a bunch of different drugs, prednisone to try to handle the inflammation from the cancer, some different diuretics trying to bleed fluid off his heart, and we could never get his quality of life up to a point where we felt like it was acceptable for him. Due to the fluid in his lungs, every time he ate, you would hear this wet clicking noise when he breathed, because as his stomach filled up, it compressed his lungs and he would have less area that he could breathe into. So after 4 months of trying everything that we could and putting about $1,500 in vet bills into this dog, we finally made the executive decision to euthanize. Talked it over with the vet. Once we realized that there was no getting better from something like heart failure. And he so badly wanted to play, but over the last 2 weeks, his condition went downhill so rapidly, we couldn't put enough diuretics into him to bleed the fluid off to the point where he had become bloated He couldn't breathe. He couldn't be active. And at the end, he stopped eating. So, couple days ago, took him to the vet for what I thought was going to be a routine. Let's adjust his meds, take more scans, see if we can get him stable enough to try to treat the heartworm. And after she assessed his condition, we actually turned around and scheduled the euthanasia for later that afternoon. So the old man and I spent an entire afternoon driving around with the windows down so that he could sniff everything. Sorry. Made a point of him getting all of the foods that he was never allowed to have because you have to restrict high sodium foods when you're on heart failure meds. So he got cheese sticks and chocolate and a pup cup and an entire thing of chicken nuggets. And a yeast donut that I did not mean for him to get, but I turned around and had it in my hand and he snagged it. So, can't be too mad there. And for what it's worth, my vet is phenomenal when it comes to euthanasia. At this point, I have had to put down 3 senior dogs because I have a tendency to rescue them. So it was very peaceful. They do a really good job. They lay out a thick blanket. They put in a mild sedative so that he just goes sleepy. And then when he is calm and comfortable, they do the final injection that stops the heart. Give it a minute, check for pulse, and then they're just gone. And you can always tell with the ones where it's their time to go, because when you put the sedative into them, they just give up. They just relax. You can just see them finally be like, oh, okay. And I don't in any way regret the time and the money that I put into trying to help him have a better life. I was really hoping that we were going to get a couple years, but when you rescue older dogs, when you rescue damaged dogs, especially ones that have been mistreated as much as this one had, it just doesn't always work out that way, you know? So, yeah, that's where we're at. The yard hippo is no longer in residence. In about a week, I'm going to get his urn because I had him cremated. And he'll go up with all the other senior dogs on the memorial wall. I kept his collar, got a paw print. He'll get the same treatment as everyone else. So, yeah. I'm going to scrub through my phone, see what pictures I have of him, I will put those in here so that you guys can see what a ridiculous mess that floppy dog was. And yeah. You may not have my seat. I don't care. My ass is in it. No. Sit. But old man's doing okay. Yeah, hi buddy, I love you too. He just took a very thorough poo in the rain, so now he's a soggy boy and I get to dry him off before we go upstairs. You have a gross mouth. I think we're done. Thank you to everyone that cared enough to check in on him and to want to know how it went. I really appreciate the support. If you want to chip in on the vet bills, I'm not gonna ask, but I know that some people did say they wanted to. I guess my Ko-Fi is probably the best way to do that. Yeah. Anything that I get through there for the next month is probably all just going to go toward vet bills and cremation and meds and all of it. I had held off on saying anything on that regard because I foolishly thought that, we were going to get him through it. And the plan was to make a video with him happy and running around. And then be like, okay, if you want to chip in toward getting him to this point, here's how we do it. But, yep, just didn't go that way. So, yeah. Thanks to everyone that cared. I appreciate you. Yeah.